All right, it looks like it's live. Okay, welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony Demakis with Alliance Specialties and Laser Sales. This is Chat and Chow, where we have lunch with industry friends and we just talk about positive things going on in their world, in our world, ways that we can all work together to make an impact on the world around us. And some of those are creative ways, and some of those are really, really creative ways, and some of those are just, being a good person. So we'll probably get into some leadership, into some creativity, into some new technologies. We'll talk about probably a little bit of everything, because we have two people on from one of the most innovative companies I know of, Carbon, and I've loved everything that they have from the moment that my father and I saw them at MD&M. And it's a really, really cool technology. And they're not just making little things. I mean, it's shoes, it's everything. And we'll get into all that too. So I'm going to bring in Dana McCallum and Jason Lopes. Let me get to you guys. All right, there they are. I'm now unmuted. Technology is fun, but you got to figure it all out. Welcome, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for talking with me a little bit today.
Thanks for having us. We're excited to be here.
Yeah. I mean, I think what's nice is every time we get to be in the same place together, we find some reason to have a conversation like this. So it's been good for that reason. I think, we did the Manufacturing Alliance podcast 3D panel at, where was that? At the molding conference. That was the one that you were a part of. Yep. And then we did one with, is it Chris DeSimone?
Phil DeSimone?
Phil,
at NPE.
At NPE. And also at, it was the other one at McCormick Place. It was either IMTS or one of those. It was IMTS.
Yeah, IMTS.
Yeah, so I've been able to talk to you guys a bunch at every trade show in between. So, like I said, I really appreciate you guys being willing to just take some time and talk with us about what's going on and how Carbon is making a difference right now, because I see it a lot, and it's impressive, the things that you guys are doing. So
absolutely.
So let's just jump in a little bit. Jason, tell us a little bit about you. I mean, you got all that cool stuff in the background. That's some cool swag.
So thanks for having me, Tony, and hello to your audience. Super excited for this. My name is Jason Lopes. I'm a partner development engineer at Carbon, which means I help on the technical side, I help on the upfront sales side, and really what I'm all about is really showing people how to get into production, how to get an ROI in this specific technology, and how it can complement traditional manufacturing. I've been in this space for about a total of 16 years in additive. I come from special effects, actually, and the swag that you mentioned are all projects that I worked on with additive when I worked for entertainment.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, who's back there? Who's on the top there? That's
we got War Machine up top. Then we have the Mark III, second version of the Mark III, actually. Some conceptual creature stuff. And then this guy's pretty special. This is from a movie called Small Soldiers back in 1998.
I remember that movie.
But the really cool thing about it is in the opening credits, you actually see this guy here and another guy in digital format coming out of an SLA 7000 vat being 3D printed back in 1998. So pretty cool. It's a good flashback.
So in 1998, was that actually a thing, or was that looking forward to the future?
So it was being used. I mean, the technology's been around for quite some time, juxtaposed to how most people think it's a newer technology, but it's been around since late 80s, early 90s. And in entertainment, we used to get a lot of our freelancers when we filled up for the movies. A lot of people came from JPLs, NASA's, etc., and they brought in this knowledge of knowing technologies that were out there that we could utilize and dabble with on a small scale. And just like everything, we kept dabbling. And when the recession hit in 2007, we jumped in, and that was what saved us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Jason really led that. I mean, all of his stories of the different projects you worked on, Jason, were just incredible and inspiring, not only for me, but our industry. It was something new that no one in our industry had seen.
It was really neat. And, I utilized it for I really wanted to show the industry what could be possible. Like it's nice to see the finished product,
Yeah.
but showing our industry in keynotes and presentations, what actually went into this, really was the most inspiring part for me, because I think it allows people to look at things a little differently. When you don't know what you don't know, you don't know. So when you get to see the nitty gritty of what goes into something and all the subtextures of a final product, like what
Yep.
goes into it, I really think motivates people to look at things a little differently.
And it's got to do that in all areas and all industries and every aspect of your life. If you don't know what you don't know, you don't know. I mean, you said that perfectly.
Exactly.
That's the hardest thing for, I think, a lot of people to grasp just in life.
Yep.
Big time. And it's funny that you say that. So part of me showing the industry all of this was motivated because when I grew up as a kid, I textbook learned, and what you didn't know, right? Like I just said, and what they were showing us when I was in school in the 80s and early 90s was just what was in the textbook.
That's
So if
it.
I can open up
That's
and
it.
show different subtextures of what really goes in and all the different people that are involved with different disciplines coming together, if that gets one kid inspired to go seek it out, I've done my job.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, Dana, we'll get your background, but I just want to keep going with it. Like
Yeah.
right now, my kids are dealing with e-learning and they don't love it. They're graduated now. They're done. They're done. My son is finally officially a high schooler.
Oh, wow.
But, we go back and forth on the conversation of showing your work when you're doing math problems or knowing and understanding the process of doing the math problem. Which one is more important, right? I am a firm believer that if there's a calculator and a tool to do it faster and better, you should do that. You need to understand the process to do it.
Yep.
But if you have to do the multiplication of 36 times 452 in your head, why?
Yeah.
Why am I going to write that out?
The tools are developed for a reason.
That's right. That's right. Why are we continuing to invent the wheel instead of taking that wheel and putting it on a car and making that car better day in and day out?
Yeah.
So I keep telling him, I'm not a big fan of history because I feel like that's done. I like problem solving things. And I know you can learn from history, but Google is filled with history. There's no reason you have to have it memorized. Anything you need to know is there for you to see.
Sure.
I imagine going back to our high school years and being able to cram for a test with the internet. That's what I think about. Dana probably doesn't have that problem. But for me, going back, and I think you hit something good here, knowing that process, right? Once you know that process, you can apply it to any problem.
That's right.
That's in that wheelhouse. And, getting that process locked down, yeah, you can get to the end result with that calculator, absolutely. But I think the real takeaway is how did I get to that result? And then being able to apply that to future results that are needed.
That's right. That's right. And what did I learn from there? What's my takeaway? What's my big aha moment?
Right. What should I do again? What shouldn't I do again?
Yeah. How did I get there?
Yeah.
Because I think as a additive company, like you have an end result, right? I want this knickknack, this thing, those shoes, right? I want the soles of the shoe. How do I get there? There's not one answer. It's all about problem solving.
Yep.
It absolutely is. And being able to have all of these variables in life and bring them together to the answer for a problem is a special skill set. And, I look at that in my kids, seeing that answer, like you said, that's great. You answered the question, but how did you get there? And I love hearing that little journey and their take on the process of getting there. And you get that aha moment and then it sticks. And then that's a skill set forever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Remember we were back in school and you were having so much problems trying to learn something and everyone else seemed in the class, they might've been getting it, but you felt like, I just don't get it. But once you got it, it's with you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's there.
Yes. So Dana, what's your journey to getting to carbon?
Great question. So in college, I'll go back to college. It's been a few years. I thought I wanted to be in HR and I love people. I love, growing with people and helping people. So I thought I wanted to go into HR, had an internship at where I went to school at Miami University in Ohio. And I was thankful for the internship because it taught me that that's not what I wanted to do. So after college, one of my family friends, he owns an injection molder here in Avon Lake, Ohio, outside of Cleveland. And I went to him and he asked, he wanted to start a marketing department within his injection molding company. So I had an internship. And at the same time, he was starting to invest in Additive. And I got to learn, from sales to program management to actual operations and quality, kind of the whole scheme of manufacturing within this amazing company. And fell in love with it. And in fact, my mission in life, I want to teach more kids about manufacturing. I want to, get into the schools as early as possible, just to open the eyes. Because, what I didn't realize is everything that we touch or everything that we do, it's manufactured. It's amazing. And it's not talked about enough, from a learning perspective growing up.
I 100% agree with that.
You do?
100%. But I'll let you keep going because I got a thought on that I love your take on.
So from there, I got involved in the industry. Actually, Jason was a part of me getting elected onto the AMUG board, which is the Additive Manufacturing Users Group, which is where I learned about carbon and met Phil DeSimone. And he hired me on as their first salesperson in 2015. So that's how I got involved in carbon and have loved the industry. And I love carbon and I love the industry and want us to all succeed and grow.
And that's where I first met you was at not MD&M. It was the
molding conference.
The molding conference in California.
Yes. Yep. In Long Beach, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everybody was doing additive presentations. And in my opinion, carbon stood out because it was different and it was unique. And there were a lot of people that were not talking about the technology. They were using it as a portfolio opportunity to share how awesome they were or the things that they've done. And I don't think that's what those talks should be for. I think it should be about educating people on new technologies and actually showing them the benefit of what that is and how it's changing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, our goal, and Jason really leads a lot of our presentations because he said he does such a great job, but is to really educate, right, on our technology, but paint the picture. And then whoever you are, like whoever's listening can then apply that to their business, their problem, whatever they, encounter. And we don't want to sit there and say, you should do this, this, and this. We want to really open their eyes to what's possible.
Yeah. And I think, besides, of course, we educate, we show them what's possible. But I think what's unique about our approach is we treat everything like a true partnership. No one's in this on their own. When they get the equipment, they're not left to fend for themselves. We really bring together and show how to enable this and push it forward. Because, joining Dana's team almost 3 years ago, it's a pretty special team in the vision and the outlook of it. I mean, we work for carbon and we're here for carbon and we believe in the technology, but we can't get our industry to adopt it and get other people to see it without bringing in, a partner to help and empower them to see what they can do for their clients' needs and get it out there. So what we've been working on over these years and coming to join Dana's team is something I don't even think Dana realizes to a degree, the part that she plays in the success of the industry in figuring out how to adopt these technologies, whether it be to complement injection molding, whether it be to carry on a low to medium volume production outside of injection molding, how they really work together. And I think, years from now, if anyone looks back and says, well, how did additive get to where it is? And wow, you hear about it like it's gained so much traction and it's done what it's thing. You're going to see some pioneers that really enabled it. And I consider Dana one of those pioneers where really getting out of that onesie twosie prototype mentality and working with people laboriously and investing the time to show how you can break, cross that chasm and get from a prototype mindset into volume and use product.
Yep.
Thanks, Jason.
I mean, I can't say it enough. I mean, you're an enabler And I think sometimes you have to step out of the box to really realize, but what you've been doing is enabling a lot of people, a lot of companies to look at this differently and to understand what they're looking at. You know, rather than, like Tony, you said earlier, I'm not going to lie, you know, it's been a very sensationalistic approach to additive manufacturing from companies, right? You said you see the cherry on top, the brochures, yada, yada, yada. Where we've taken a different approach. We've gone from bottom up, and we're trying to get that adoption, the understanding, people being experts in it, understanding differences in designing disciplines between different manufacturing processes, and really having that aha moment and knowing how to use the tool when appropriate.
Yeah.
I mean, simple as that, but very complicated.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, I think that all goes into what I was going to mention to Dana when she was talking about, you know, getting into the kids and talking about manufacturing at an early age and explaining to them what actually goes into products and building things. You know, one of the things, I don't want to go down a whole political rabbit hole with anything because we're supposed to stay light and positive and cheery. But what makes me crazy is when everybody was criticizing how few tests there were for something that didn't even exist. And if you're in manufacturing, if you build anything, you know that you don't even know what you don't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
So you don't even know what that test needs to look like before you can try and build it. And then in order to build it, you have to design it. And then to design it, after you design it, then you have to try and build it. And then you have to test it. And then you have to send it to market. And it's not an overnight thing. We're such an immediate gratification society that everybody thinks just because I can see it on YouTube or on Facebook, I should be able to own that, or I should be able to buy that from Amazon. Well, it has to be created from nothing.
Right. That's, you know, you bring up a really good point. And, you know, we saw this with the hype of 3D printing, you know, I think that was 2011, 2012, when it was the top of the height or of the hype, and everyone wanted a 3D printer in their home. They saw people printing parts, but they didn't understand how.
Right.
And you know, we definitely experienced that within the additive industry.
And they just thought, well, just go. I mean, here it is. I just want this.
Yep. And then they would get, you know, upset. Okay, it didn't really function like I thought it would. You know, just the everyday person. Where if you're someone like Jason and you have multiple 3D printers in your home, it's a little bit different, and you can make it work.
You don't want to make it work though when you see the electric bill. But you're exactly right. We went through this hype stage of everyone thinking there's going to be this magic box in their house. And hey, listen, I mean, if you look at it from the weekend warrior standpoint of the family, you know, I know I'm a weekend warrior, right? On the weekends, we're kit bashing, we're building stuff, doing our own projects. Yeah, you can utilize it in that scenario. And parts on demand, if your stove knob breaks and printing out, you know, a replacement, absolutely. I mean, people that have that hobbyist skill set absolutely can do that. Unfortunately, all people see is that end product, and you don't see all the upfront that actually goes in.
That's right.
You know, those frustrating moments, those moments where you're 4 hours past your bedtime because you're just trying to get this thing to work to print overnight. It's great in theory. However, there's a process. There's a way that things safely get entered into the world, that get tested into the world, things that sit out in daylight, in UV. It's a whole different world of requirements. And then people start, like when you listed off the process, I remember my grandfather, when I had an idea when I was a kid, saying, how do I make this? And he told me the process just like you did. And I just looked at him and I said, no, thank you. Yeah, that is too overwhelming. I just want to make this.
And again, I think with the instant gratification society, we've lost a respect for experts in our field. So if I buy a carbon machine, or if I have a carbon machine, can't buy it. That's a different conversation that we don't have to get into. If I have a carbon, I was going
to be the one thing that you didn't like about us.
I'm not bringing that up. We've had that conversation before. That's a different time. No matter what printer I have, whatever additive machine I have the idea, I can do it. But if I call Jason, it's going to be done a lot faster, a lot smoother, and a lot probably more structurally good than if I try and do it. I can do it, but it's not going to be the same level of quality right away because there's a learning curve. He's an expert at it. You know, when we're polishing things, people say, oh, that's really easy. Just teach me how to do it. No, there's, you know, years and years and years of experience. We'll bring a laser welder out to somebody's facility and show them, like, you know, it's easy to laser weld. It's easier than being a TIG welder, but to be an expert at it takes years and years and years of practice. You know, it's not just plug and play and you go.
You're exactly right. And so you brought up something very interesting, and you can stop me at any point, but you brought up the technical schooling early on, and I'm a huge advocate for technical schooling and educating, and I give back to kids, students, you name it, anytime I can. You know, I remember I was born in New Jersey, and I remember the view people had on if someone chose to go to a technical school over a regular college. And it kind of broke my heart, because everyone that told me that they were going to a technical school had this passion behind telling me, like, they were going to get to use their hands for something that they realized that that's who they were. That's what they wanted to do. And there was that aha moment, and they had a track. But on the outside, it wasn't, you know, socially perceived as you should go to a regular college and get that degree, blah, 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 blah. And now we've gone a little bit full turn, right? Now you're hearing a lot more about the technical schooling and stuff like that. And I can't say that enough. I mean, I look back in my high school years, and some of my best classes were my shop classes. I had an automotive class, all these technical classes that I still utilize those things today.
Yes.
And to hear that they're gone and trying to make comebacks really is a little bit disheartening, because, you know, when I talk to people, I ask silly questions, even on job interviews. You know, I ask questions like, do you know how to change your flat tire?
Oh, totally.
Just to poll. And I can't tell you how many people can't do that skill. But now if you look at different age groups older than us, the highest percentage of people, everyone can do it. So what does that tell you? Right?
It tells me that, going back to what we were talking about with schooling, we forgot how to problem solve. We forgot how to take that side of things on, that curiosity and that learning. It's been replaced with memorization and grades instead of curiosity.
How you get to that answer.
That's right. That's right.
So I hope to see, you know, more technical tracks. Like I see, like, my son, he's been very technical his whole life. I think he's absorbed a lot of it just from being embedded of what I've been embedded in. And I see a lot of his friends on more of that technical part. And, you know, a lot of these kids these days, you know, if they knew some of these processes, oh my God, they could put us out of work with how their minds are thinking, but they're just missing that understanding on the background. But the one thing that I wanted to say, and I've had this argument for about 7 years now in Additive, if I go to school for psychology, I'm going to go through what I call the 101s. And that's where you learn about Freud. That's where you learn about the pioneers. So if I take a class on manufacturing, or if I take a class on additive manufacturing, I should learn about the people who enabled it for me to learn about it today. And I think that's part of the problem, is even when we do have these technical classes and curriculums, it's a jump right in, right? Jump right in, get your hands dirty, let's do it, which is awesome. However, I really would love for people to learn where it came from, how it got here, who were the people in the companies involved, because the more you know, the more you know. Right. And you can figure things out a lot differently. You can understand why things are the way that they are. And you could start being part of the solution to things that we need in this. So that's, you know, that's my little ramble on the 101s for that. I'm just trying to bring more awareness to educating in our arena.
I think all of it is incredibly, it's incredibly valid to know how you got there. I mean, I was a graphic designer in marketing, and we learned about graphic designers. That's what we did, you know, because there's a reason behind the things that they do and the way that we got to where we are today.
Exactly.
You know, just like, you know, you can like LeBron, but you got to understand that Jordan's better. You know, LeBron's only as good as LeBron because he had Jordan to watch.
Well, I'm not a basketball person, but I will say some of the most iconic photos are Jordan in the air, not on the ground. I mean,
that's right.
Deny that.
That's right. Dana, so what are you guys, I mean, you guys have done a lot of stuff now with COVID. What
Mhm.
are some of the things that, or ways that you guys have been able to make a difference?
Yeah. So I think Carbon's done a really good job of stepping in and helping out where we can.
Mhm.
And we've helped out with creating the face shields, like the bands. And we actually put a design on our website so anyone can download it. We made that available to the public. And then in addition to that, we're working on swabs, so test swabs.
Yep.
And I think, 3D printing has its place, and also other traditional manufacturing processes. I think just in general, Carbon's done a great job of stepping up to the plate. And I think, you look at the industry in general and everyone has,
Yeah.
and it's quite incredible that something so harsh, right? It's a pandemic.
Yeah.
None of us have been a part of this before, and something that's so bad is happening in the world. We're still all keeping our heads on our shoulders, standing up tall as we can, and honing in on this together to try to create solutions. Again, whether it's with Carbon, and I think, our team has done such a fabulous job, but our partners that we're working with, Jason and I work with, and then, other manufacturing companies as well.
Yeah.
I've been really proud to be part of US manufacturing as a whole through this whole thing, because I mean, you just look at different message boards and it's people asking, how can I help? How can I get involved? How can I make a ventilator? How can I make a part for a ventilator? How can I make a mask? And, just companies that have nothing to do with that section of the
Yep.
world. We're makeshifting shields. I know we made some, we bought some, like, headbands, and duct taped them together and got some double-sided tape and some plastic. And we made headbands for the local hospital because they couldn't get any.
Yeah.
And just the way that people have stepped up, without worrying about, well, am I going to get paid for this certain thing? Like, how can I make a difference? And how can we help people that are in need? I mean, it screams why the US manufacturing is so different from any other job or situation that I can think of.
I 1,000,000% agree with that, Tony. Like, if you go out and look at your social feeds specifically for your industry, like, you sit back proud for your industry, looking at everyone wanting to help. But
Yeah.
there's also something else that's been going on in it that I think is so amazing. And you just said it. You said the word local, right? And if you
Mhm.
look at what's going on, it comes in and this happens to us, supply chains disrupted, PPE need. And by default, it's going to be a top-down approach, right? All the big players are going to get replenished, and it's going to be a long time for the bottom feeders.
Yep.
Hate to say it like
Yep.
that, to come up. But what you just said, and this is what we're seeing, is people realize that, and they're bridging that gap by going bottom up as top is coming down, taking care of local. Community is coming together. So many different outlets are coming together to come from the local bottom up to meet up in the middle from the top down, which I think is absolutely amazing. And then on top of it, Carbon has been doing an amazing job with their efforts during COVID. And I can't sit still during this. And I've been helping a lot with our partners and just doing anything I can for my local places, like my dentist. I've been helping out as much as possible, but just bringing it all together. And I saw an opportunity to see, okay, due to sensationalism and additive, it's kind of
Yep.
pushed a lot of traditionalists away from us a little bit in their thinking. So how do we complement now? And I started speaking the message and actually doing bridge gapping into injection so we can fill the time and need on a daily basis with additive.
Yes.
Okay, that tool is out getting created, that tool starts spitting out, and we can stop that bridge. And we have helped in that time and need, and hopefully have gained the respect of the traditionalists that have been doing this forever, and saying, wow, that's what I wanted to see from the additive community.
Yeah.
We're doing our thing, they're fulfilling that need until we're ready, and it's a seamless transition. And I hope that message comes across, because I've been seeing it a lot.
Yep. And I think that was one of the first things that I noticed, when I saw, Carbon speak the first time. that day there were probably 5 or 6 different additive companies with their farms and their whatever.
Yeah.
And they were almost threatening the mold builders and the mold builders, like the molders and the mold builders. They were almost threatening them like, listen, we're coming. Get ready for us. We're coming. Instead of being a partnership, reaching out a hand and saying, listen, you have hurdles to getting your product out right away.
Yep.
We can help you and get you to market quicker. Let's work together, because we're never going to make 6 million parts with additive. That doesn't make sense. But we can get the first 600 off the ground and do proof of concept and help you build an additive mold so you can actually mold your parts and go to market right away without having to worry about acquiring steel and this, that, and the other thing. And I think they missed the mark. That's what I walked away with, thinking like, wow, you just attacked a whole industry. And
I agree.
And said, you're going down if you don't get on board. And it was like, wow.
It's funny that you say that. It reminds me of when I brought in additive into special effects at the studio that I was working at. All the people in the back thought it was a robot that was going to replace their jobs. And what did they do the minute they saw the crate come in? Their guards went up.
Yeah.
So I had to break down that wall. And I broke down that wall by saying, hey, listen, I am not going to replace you with this. I need you to feed this. You have 25 years of experience that you can help feed into this technology where we can take it to a level the OEM never knew it could go.
That's right.
And that was my approach. Bring them into it. Bring them into it. They're the specialists. And that's what I like to get out of injection molders. And, last year I went on a road show with Lisa Lehman, and she thought I was crazy because I was so excited to be going to my first blow molding conference.
Okay.
And it was finally my chance to get some education back and to go to the experts and see if I could fulfill a need. But more importantly, like, how can I help take that information and make additive complement what they need even more?
That's right.
So that's been my whole approach on this.
And that's, I feel like that's the right sales approach in anything, is you have to really identify what that customer needs so that you can do it. You can't just spit a million facts at them, because who cares that you may not even hit the one that I want.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think our goal in any, conversation that we're having is, as we mentioned before, education. So you can kind of open their eyes to what's possible.
Yep.
But then not to talk, ask questions and listen.
That's right.
And I think, Jason does a really good job, and our team does a really good job of doing that and putting ourselves in their shoes. Talking with molders, we've all worked at molders. Jason's learned and has been engaged with a lot of our partners who are molders now. But most of my team has come from molders. So we get it. We've been on the floor. We've understood, scrap rates are super high, or, long lead times for tooling, or maybe just parts in general. So we've lived in their shoes before.
Yeah. And you guys have even made a couple parts for us with our laser welding machines, from a joystick at one point. I think there were a couple other parts. And then Jason, you made my son the awesome T-Rex head that is still on his dresser.
That's awesome.
He loves it so much.
We need to get your son into 3D printing.
Yeah, I can't afford one. I know. He can come work with it. He
can come visit once travel bans are up. Bring him out to visit, and we can show him in person.
I would love to do that. I would love he would love it.
He can intern at my house this summer.
That sounds like a good gig.
I'm just gonna ship my son to California for the summer.
Have fun.
I can't tell if he would like that or hate that. I don't know. But you got a pretty cool gig going on, so he might actually like it. He'd
have a good time. It's hard work, but it's fun hard work, and that's the thing too. I think, I've met you at IMTS in Florida, I believe is when I met you, and your passion has stood out for this. But more importantly, the groups of people that seem to attract to each other and speak are very dedicated and hardworking people. Which is what I really, really like. Like I tell Dana all the time, I don't care if something's hard. That's what fuels me to really go crazy and enjoy what I'm doing. We're blessed every day getting to do this.
Yes.
And being able to So I wanted to go back to talk about with this education that you guys were just speaking about. You know, when something comes across, and if you want something 3D printed and we look at it, you don't want to hear, no, it's not a good fit, it can't be 3D printed. That might be the case, but it's our job to really go deep on why it
Yes.
won't work for the technology. And then more importantly, how could it work for the technology? Because that's when you get those aha moments, and that's when you're showing people like this is how you need to be thinking. This is, I don't want to give you a hard no. I want to show you and educate you. So when the next ones come around, you have a better idea for discovery, and we might have that win success. I think that's important.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, that why, that explanation to people is something that I think our generations understand, right? I grew up, even with my parents, right?
Mhm.
I grew up with, why? Because I said so, right? I hate that answer. Even today, I hate that answer. Like I won't use that with my kids because I feel like they deserve some sort of explanation. They have a legitimate question. The least I can do is address it with them and share that information. Why can't you do that? Here's why. You know, why can't you stay up till midnight and play video games and watch YouTube? Because you're a growing boy and you need some sleep so that you can be at your best tomorrow.
Yep.
That's why.
You explained it perfect. If you don't give someone the whys, it kills development. And it kills development on every level, industry, human, whatever. You want to engage and have the understanding what's behind that no.
Right.
So you can then go back, and development is a part of everything. Even when you're not working in development, it's a developmental mindset because we learn every day. We learn new things every day, and we learn how to solve challenges every day. Today's failure could be tomorrow's success on another project.
It better be.
Yeah,
absolutely. And you go and you learn these things and you apply them later. So if someone is just giving you those hard no's, that just gets us nowhere.
Yeah, and it actually creates unnecessary frustration.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
To something. Maybe it's not exactly what you thought it should be or would be, but we can get there somehow. It's just figuring out the pieces to get there. And so if you approach it with, more solution-based, everyone's going to be successful and happy.
And it can just crush your spirits, not just yours, but your team, who you're working with. They come to you with an idea and you just go, no.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and eventually they stop coming you with ideas.
Yeah, exactly.
And you become a ceiling to creativity because that person just assumes that you're just going to say no. You know, it's the kid that won't ask their parents if they can go for a bike ride or whatever, because dad always says no. You know, not my dad. My dad.
Isn't it interesting? I don't know if you work with anyone like this, but in my career I have, and it's like, I don't want to email this person to request this because I know I'm just going to get told no. So I have to come up with a reason why, and you have to sell it, and it's frustrating.
I don't have that problem so much right now, but in the past it would be like reverse engineering. Here's the answer I want. How do I get to that answer? So I know this person, it has to be their idea or it's going to be a no. So how do I bring it up in a way that makes them think that they came up with it and that I don't like it? Because if I like it, they're not going to want to do it. So it has to be their idea. And then I have to kind of be on board, and they have to encourage me that it's the right direction to go. Instead of just like, so everything.
Work in entertainment. That sounds like entertainment to me. That sounds like my old world.
I think, we all think we have very unique experiences and situations, but I think they're a lot more similar than we think they are.
Yeah.
I agree.
Doesn't matter if it's entertainment. It doesn't matter if it's parenting. It doesn't matter if it's, plastic injection, mold repair, or additive or whatever. We all have the same hurdles to get through.
Sure. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And, just looking at us three here, and I'm sure, some people in our audience can relate, we're all parents.
Yep.
We're all in manufacturing. That's what's brought us together. We all want to, learn new things and create new things. And I think, it's an amazing industry to be in.
And Westminster Tool talks about it all the time. I love them. I love Hillary. and their whole culture is based on creativity and your ability to learn. And, they don't care what your experience level is. If you've got
I
30
love it.
years of experience and you're the best mold maker in the world, but you have zero curiosity and you don't want to learn anything new, they have no interest in talking to you.
Wow.
And
That's awesome.
That's great.
I took so much from that because it's a passion to learn and get better. The last thing I want is somebody to be on my team that says, no, I've been there. I've done it all. I have all the answers.
Yep.
Well, then you're a
Yeah.
ceiling. You're a
Yes.
ceiling.
Yeah, where does your team go if everyone's just going to stop at default what they are today and not develop into even more of what they're capable of? What does that say for the team that they're part of? Is it going to be held back? You want that nurturing creativity, even if you don't have a creative per se job. Creative thinking and problem solving really can feed and motivate others on the team. It's
Yeah.
an amazing thing, that creativity word. It really is.
Yeah. And just thinking outside of the literal box of what it is, even something as simple as, I don't know, pickups and deliveries. Is there a better way to do it? I mean, you're doing it every day. Are you getting frustrated with a process that's happening? Should we revamp it? Should we look at
Yep.
it? Should we dive into what can and can't be better instead of just saying it's just pickup and deliveries? But
Yeah.
can it be done better? You guys, right? Carbon works with dental. Well, then somewhere along the line, they started making shoes. And then somewhere along the line, you go, oh, we could take this cushion technology and put it in football helmets. And then that would probably save people's brains. And that would be great for everybody. And then we could do it for hockey players as well. And we can, that ability to see a solution and just kind of follow it through, I think is outstanding.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things about being at Carbon is, I've known Carbon since they were literally a handful of people back in the day, and
Jason
seeing
was
that.
our first user, or first carbon user.
Who was?
Jason.
Okay.
He had our
Yep,
first.
I had it in special effects, it was an honor and it was great. And actually, here's one of the first parts I actually printed on a Carbon machine. This is about 6 years old. This was a test for a Captain America chest back in the day.
Awesome.
So pretty cool. But seeing that creative thinking and innovation keep rolling out month over month, week over week, and it accelerating forward is pretty neat. If you look at the landscape of all equipment manufacturers, they make the vehicle, which is great, and they have some materials, and it ends there, and they're waiting for their customers to bring stuff to market. Carbon has this unique approach with applications and really nurturing applications and like educating. We've been saying that, but really going through these phases of product development in an additive world. And up at Carbon, we don't have all the answers to it. We're entering a space that we haven't been in for a long time. And that's why we lean on these partners, because the education that we get back on their needs for processes, process control, etc., you name it, is what we're learning and being able to, with our minds up at Carbon, put that into the technology. Right. So we're developing this product alongside with our partners for their needs, and we're creating something that we haven't even seen yet.
Yep.
A year from now, who knows what we're going to see that come out of this.
Yep. And that's crazy awesome to think about, right? Just, we do that same thing when we're developing our products here. You're scrolling through the internet and you see something and you go, oh, we could apply that. You tweak this, you change that, you do this, and we got a whole new solution that nobody's ever done before. This is awesome.
Very cool.
And it's led us to take another step in our business where, we started as a service company. From a service company, we started doing laser welding, laser engraving. From there, we decided we were going to start selling that product because people are going to buy it anyways. And we hope they buy it from us instead of somebody else because we're already the experts at it. And then this year we're opening up a showroom that is just all laser manufacturing equipment from different manufacturers. So people like Coherent and Vision and ourselves and Laser Icy in Turkey, different people that we've worked with in the past. We're just going to have a showroom full of technology, laser engravers, laser markers, laser cutters, additive machines, whatever technology people want to see. And we want to be a little hub where people can come see what fits their needs, and then just work with them through it. So open house is supposed to be in the summer or fall, but we'll see what we can allow people to do.
Cross your fingers. Yeah.
So, Carbon wants to put a machine out in the showroom. Well, I mean, we can have that conversation.
Let's have it.
Yeah. I've kept you guys longer than I should, but I don't know why I say this is going to be a half hour. It's never been a half hour. But I guess that just means
having
it's
such
good
great conversations. You don't pay attention to time.
And that's what's hard, is because I think there are so many conversations to have that aren't just data driven, right? I think there's so many people want to know the data, the numbers, the details, but I like the actual conversation about the why and the purpose and how we continue to grow as an industry, for all manufacturing, not plastics, not this, not that,
Exactly.
the other thing.
Yeah.
And that conversation can just keep taking on, it just rolls downhill. And then you talk about leadership and you talk about, taking chances and whatever. And you could just talk for hours.
It becomes so compelling that you just get magnetized to want to keep going.
And I think that's a credit to the passion of the people that we've talked to doing, at least these lunches. And even when Christina and I do the Manufacturing Alliance podcast stuff, like we go in saying, all right, we're going to talk to them for 30 minutes. It's not possible. It's
I loved the podcast that you and Christina led at the molding conference, where you guys flipped cards just to ask, whatever question.
Oh yeah.
I love, there's random questions, and it was like, what's your favorite type of food, or
yeah. Would you rather questions? We had some good would you rather questions, because I think that's what people want, right? Like I want to work with Jason, not because he's an expert at additive, but I like Jason.
Yeah.
And I know Jason, Tony, and we'll get along. And I know that he's going to have my best interest at heart, not because he knows all the numbers and he knows how to make a perfect dinosaur head. That's cool. But he gets what my passion is. We were talking about it earlier with, like, my office and, my eclectic mess of crap. It's who I am. I mean, I was talking with my brother. I'm going on a small tangent. I was talking with my brother and I told him that for the first time, it feels very freeing because I can just be authentically me in all situations. And if you don't like me, I don't care, because it's who I am. If you come in my office and you're like, oh, he's got toys and stuff and whatever, I don't want to work with him. Cool. I'm good with that. Like, it's who I am. I'm going to be me. And, I think everybody
you shouldn't be, pretend to be anything else.
I feel like it's the only competitive advantage I have.
Yeah.
And I think from everybody I've met at Carbon, it's that same kind of attitude. Nobody's come across as stuffy and pretending, it's all authentic, which I really, really appreciate.
Jason and I were talking yesterday.
Very authentic.
Like, Tony's just amazing because we've kept in touch over the years, and it's, it's really the passion, your personality. We love talking with you. And it's people like that in the industry that will stick together through it all. And
we're going to keep growing and we're going to keep having fun.
Yeah.
And it's just
absolutely
all about having fun.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it. There's typically a lot of trade shows, and a lot of them can be very boring. So it's good to know that you can go down a flight of stairs and talk with your friends for a little while.
Sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
and probably get a drink afterwards and just hang out and be real.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about being real.
Absolutely.
So do you guys have anything else you want to add, or I'm going to let you go so that
let's do round 2 in the next month or so.
I would love to do a round 2. And maybe
I would totally be down for that. And, Tony, you're amazing. Like I looked through some of the archives of your podcast, and we need more people like you doing it out there. You're very inviting and welcoming. You're an expert. And, that's what I'm getting at, though. Like you have your normal 9 to 5. We have our normal 9 to 5. And here we are talking about what we love. Right. Yeah. And what we love is what we do for a living. It's who we are. And it's anytime I could come across and, help connect with someone, one of your viewers, or even on the kids side of things, bring it. I mean, this is what it's supposed to be.
No, I need more people like you that tell me I'm awesome. That's what I want in my life. I need more
I
of
see
that.
Triceratops behind you and stuff like that. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, I got my hey. I got my what's the black one? I can't remember. The my son hated that dinosaur in the new movie. He thought it was completely unnecessary.
Oh boy.
Come on, you know which one.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
This one. Yeah.
Let's see if it comes back.
Oh shoot, I don't know what that
Did I lose you?
Yeah, your videos, it moved over to Dana, but I know what you're talking about, and I'll have no comment for that.
No comment, huh?
Uh-oh.
So you can imagine. So what you just said regarding that dino, imagine now working on some of those movies and images released from the studio to tease people.
Yeah.
Imagine waking up to the barrage of comments about what people think about based on how we've interpreted a dinosaur or something like that. It's a little cruel game, but makes your skin thick, and it makes you be able to handle anything.
Well, look what happened with Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie.
No comment.
Exactly. Well, we typically wrap up with a prayer. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but this is positive podcast, and I am a man of faith, and I like that. So if there's anything that you guys would like prayer requests for, if you're watching or between YouTube, put it in the chat, and we will pray for you before we get out of here, because right now we need that more than anything else. So you guys got anything?
I think, or I don't know if you're getting questions, but I think just, coming together and hoping that this pandemic normalizes more and everyone stays healthy.
Yep. For me, it's all those words and also community, bringing people together. And I've seen more people be on the human level in this crazy 3 months. I mean, to say positive, say you seem positive in a pandemic, but I really like the humanness that I'm seeing. So I think everyone in the world deserves a prayer.
Yeah, I agree. And I just hope this little bit that we're going through right now is, the pandemic was one thing, but the stuff happening more recent in Minnesota and everything else, our prayers are definitely with that whole state and the families and, not just the family of the victim, but the family of the officers. They did something horrible. There's no excuses for it, but their family is also struggling through what happened and what's going on. So I think that's something important as well. So let's get out of that. I mean, the pandemic thing, we're going to have a new normal. Pastor Furtick out of Elevation Church says it best, that we're not going back to normal. We were not supposed to be in that normal. We're supposed to be in the new normal. That's the new graduating. That's the continuous improvement. So let's not go backwards. Let's go forwards. Things are better or can be better through the end of this than they were when we started. So
exactly.
All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together with my friends. Thank you for the technology to let us connect, even though we can't connect. Thank you that you are always with us, that you know the past, the present, and the future, and that nothing is a surprise to you. You know what we're going through. You know what we need to go through. You know how we will get better on the other side. So we just pray that you would help us to recognize the areas where we can improve. We pray that this virus would be short-lived, and there would be more healing. There would be more health, and that people would make it through. And we pray for the people that are scared or sad or depressed, that you would be with them and they would feel comforted, and that we would get through all of this. Thank you for my time with my friends, and we love you and we appreciate you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Guys, thank you so much for, like I said, giving me some time and just being here with me. And
thank you, Tony. We loved it. It was super fun.
I would love to chat again in a month or so, like you said. Yeah, so we'll put it on the calendar and we'll set a date, and maybe next time we can show off some of the cool stuff that you guys have.
Yeah,
that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I am going to run through my upcoming list here, but I will let y'all go because I mean you don't need to be on there for that. And then we can touch base. Where is my share screen? Technology is fun when it's fun. All right. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Tony.
Have a
Bye.
good one. All right, everybody. Thank you again for watching and listening with us and being part of our show. I hope that you got something out of it. I love talking with the team from Carbon. They are experts at the things that they do. And I'm sure that there's a lot of other companies out there that are experts at what they do. But I really, 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 really appreciate what they bring to the table. Coming up this week or this week, we have Paul Britton from International Mold Steel tomorrow. And then Lindsay Diamond from Metro Mold in Minnesota. Christina Fuges and Allison Klein will be on the show talking about AmeriMold Connects coming up, the first ever online trade show that they've put together. So that's going to be exciting. And then Mark Densler from the Illinois Manufacturing Association, Scott Smith from DME, and then Troy Nix, somebody that I'm very familiar with and somebody that I think a lot of our mold builders and molders are familiar with. We'll be on and we're going to be talking about leadership and, all kinds of good things. So that's the upcoming schedule. I just want to thank everybody once again for being part of the show, for watching, for giving me some time. Until tomorrow, take care and God bless.